Hey everybody, we're all social distancing at home and we got nothing else to do, so everyone's watching this documentary, Tiger King. It's this documentary on Netflix that is just sweeping the nation, and every bit of it is crazier than the last part. There's this man, Joe Exotic, who runs a big cat zoo in Wynwood, Oklahoma. And he has this nemesis, Carol Baskin, who runs a big cat rescue in Florida. And they are nemeses, and they clash a whole bunch. Carol has fought many legal battles against him, and he has threatened her repeatedly. But basically, I wanted to talk about three things with the Tiger King that stood out to me. The first is Carol Baskin's body language. The second is exploitation throughout the film. And the third is damage. These people are dealing with a lot of past trauma throughout the whole documentary. And the other crazy thing about this is that Carol may have killed her rich second husband. We don't know. It's crazy. First, about Carol. So, Carol, the documentary kind of sets you up to be this, you're good, maybe a little quirky, but good. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, did she kill her husband? And I understand that it's not really fleshed out in the documentary. Maybe Carol, maybe that story is not as fleshed out as it could be in terms of what actually happened to her husband. But what I will say is, Carol, if you talked to anyone before doing this documentary, they should have told you, Carol, we have to work on your body language because you look guilty as hell. You really do. It's not my place to tell anyone how to deal with their own trauma, but listen, Carol, they're asking you if you murdered and dismembered and fed your husband to a tiger. She goes like, oh, that's just ridiculous. That's the way you would respond if someone's like, hey, I heard last weekend at a party you took your pants off and danced on the table. Oh, that's just ridiculous. That's not how you respond when they say you killed your husband. Just an insane response, whether she did that or not. And I just had to point that out because I just feel like you couldn't respond that way I don't know. I'm not gonna judge on whether what Carol did or didn't do, but that was a problem. And your people should have been like, yeah, Carol, we gotta be more serious about this. I don't know. Just don't roll your eyes when asked, did you kill someone? Anyway, moving on. Another theme in this show is, unfortunately, exploitation. And not just the accused exploitation of these private zoo people like Joe Exotic and Doc Antle, but also these humans and what they're doing to other people. I think the biggest example of this is Joe, who lured in a few of his partners and then husbands by providing them with drugs. He identified these people who were on drugs and needed drugs, and then became a source of what they needed for them, and in return he's able to extract whatever he wants out of them, love or affection or partnership. I mean, he married these two men who, in their own words, weren't gay, but he's providing them drugs, and addiction is a really powerful thing, and so that's extremely exploitative. These were also young men, so there's an element of grooming involved there. It's a very complicated and sad story, and even though Joe seems like the more outlandish and crazy character in all of this, it's really easy to say, well, look at Joe, an egomaniac, he's insane, identified these drug users and lured them into relationships. Look at what he was doing. He started killing the animals, all that. It's easy to look at that and point that out and go, oh, he's crazy. We like to dismiss stuff because it's quote unquote crazy. We like to say, oh, well, that's so far away from us. But something else that disturbed me in this documentary were the antics and the actions of Doc Antle. So this guy calls himself Bhagavan. That supposedly means like a godlike figure. Kind of seems like a cult leader to me. He runs this really flashy zoo in Myrtle Beach, kind of like the upscale version of what Joe Exotic is doing in Oklahoma. Doc finds these young women, brings them in, and then starts controlling their life with work and through this community he's built. This woman, he scheduled breast implants for her, and basically on the day of, she'd had it all scheduled for her. She was like, well, I guess I'm gonna go get breast implants because they want it and I want to rest. Because he didn't let them rest because they just work all day. Even though he might be a little bit more of a put together and smooth character than Joe Exotic, Doc Antle is doing the same exact thing. He's taking young people, he's controlling their lives, and grooming these women from a young age. And that exploitation was another huge thing that I thought was just wild. I don't think we should offhand dismiss Joe as he's that crazy guy and Doc's this alright guy. There's a lot of ego at play with all these people. Also, what is up with cults these days? Why does everyone have a cult? Jared Leto just apparently came back from a cult he runs, and Doc Antle's got a cult going on. A lot of cults going on here. Even Carol Baskin. Joe, Doc, and Carol all have cults. Different kinds of cults. Also, Carol, you gotta pay your people. Pay your interns. Everyone should pay your interns. I'm talking about, I don't care who you work for, pay your interns. If you're an intern out there, let me get an F in the chat for not having been paid. But everyone should pay their interns, including Carol Baskin. What else do I want to dive into? The theme of damage throughout this documentary. I have so much sympathy for just about everyone in this doc. Everyone is damaged in some sort. You have Joe with his familial trauma. You have Carol, her past. The unifying theme for all these people is they seem to have found solace in animals. I don't really know what the best way to sort through that trauma is. It's really complicated. All you can hope for is that in healing yourself, you don't hurt anyone else. That's just what I was thinking about as I saw Joe do these unsavory things, as you see Doc potentially also be improperly euthanizing animals. See Carol out here not paying people. You know, we got to think about the wider ramifications of that. So I actually thought that this documentary was extremely connecting to the rest of humanity. Kind of makes us look at what makes us human, and additionally it makes us consider what people have gone through, right? Like, how do we get to a Joe Exotic? How do we get to a Carol Baskin? But anyway, and just lastly, shout out to kind of all these secondary characters, especially these people working at the GW Zoo who are just, you know, good hardworking people, and maybe they might not have really felt at home in other places in society. And I think if there's one saving grace of the GW Zoo, it's that it was able to be a place for people who might not have fit in to find, you know, work and fulfillment, etc. Shout out to y'all. Go watch Tiger King. It's fascinating. Have a discussion about it with people. And remember to keep sympathy in your hearts, right? And try to look at it with a critical lens and try to examine how we can all be better in our own lives. Thanks for watching, y'all. Check out Tiger King, and thanks for checking out the channel.